This is Moments with Mary, and my guest today is Dennis Gallagher, State Representative. Thank you, Dennis, for being on.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So before we go through all how you got to the town, the state, and the town council, why don't we start at the beginning? You're a veteran, right?
Yes, I served 4 years right out of high school, 1981 to 1985. I did a full 4-year tour, and when I got out, I went to college. So, yeah, it was something that my dad wanted me to do. He was proud that I had decided to do that.
What branch were you in?
I was in the Navy.
And were you on the ships?
I was on a destroyer, and then that ship got decommissioned early on after boot camp. I went to Great Lakes, Illinois for my boot camp. And then I went on the USS Jonas Ingram, which is just DD 938, which was kind of an old ship even in the early 80s. That got decommissioned within my first year and a half, and then I got transferred to the USS Fulton, which is a submarine tender down in New London, Connecticut. And
A submarine?
Submarine tender.
Oh.
So a tender is a repair ship. So it was AS-11, which is a submarine repair ship. So the repair ship is staffed with technicians and repairmen that go on to the subs. The subs pull up next to us, and the subs, the people on the ship, the technicians and professionalism, their trades and so forth, they go on the submarines and repair things, tune things up when they come in for port. I did none of that.
No?
I was a personnelman. I pushed paper in the personnel office and took care of enlisted service records when people were checked on board.
So was that job on the ship?
Yes, we had a personnel office. About 8 or the ship I was on, the one for the most of the time, the USS Fulton, was about 1,000 people.
Wow.
And the personnel office had about 10 people. So when people checked aboard or were discharged or went on leave or got advanced, we did a lot of the paperwork for the education part of it and things like that.
How did it feel to be out in the middle of the ocean?
You know, I loved it.
Did you?
I really loved it. It was a great experience for me. It's a great experience for anyone, I think. And if you're not ready for college, if you can't afford it, I think the military is certainly a great avenue for people to learn a lot about other people, to learn a lot about yourself, discipline and so forth. And I got a lot of that out of being in the Navy. So I cherish and reflect. The older I get, the more I do reflect on my 4 years in the service. When I was discharged, I went right to college. So as I went through those early years after the service, I really didn't think too much about my service time. But as I get older and have at least the last 10 years, I reflect and think about it more often.
You realize how much you learned.
Yes.
Yeah, and what experiences it brings. Yeah, one of my brothers was on the USS Kitty Hawk.
Okay.
So I got to fly out to Washington, and that's crazy. I mean, when you talk about that, thousands. It's like a city. I was amazed, and that you guys could live in such a tight, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just contained.
Just think of this room with 3 bunks over there and 3 bunks here, and you come in. And it was like they were called coffin racks.
That's what it looks like.
You opened them up and you put your clothes underneath there and laid on that, and it was comfortable. I got my sleep, but
it must have taken some time to get used to, though.
It did, particularly if you're in the middle bunk, because you don't have much head space, and you hit your head when you wake up. But most of all, the training that I got, and it helped me get my undergrad degree, because for every the education program was for every $1 I put away, the government put away $2. So when I got out, I pretty much funded my undergrad degree with what's called the Veterans Program.
Good for you. So then, so we'll skip up until when you're a town council. What made you decide to get onto the town council?
So when I got off the Board of Selectmen in 2009.
Oh, so how was that different?
I was 7 years on the Board of Selectmen. So in 2009, I was up for re-election and did not run. And at that point, there was the charter change was well on its way and
Yeah.
went to the voters in 2010. So I was off the council during the big turnover where there was a lot of issues when the council took over.
I read that.
Yeah, and there was people, were trying to understand the charter.
I think that charter committee did a really good job. I read that it was May 2009.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I was impressed. They did
I remember them working with a lot of other towns that were similar to us. So
Yeah.
as they drafted,
They have a whole list
charter.
of different town managers, assistants. I mean,
Yes.
they really dug in. I was totally impressed.
yes, and it's obviously a working document too that every now and then you can make changes to it. So fast forward to 2014 was the first charter review committee that was established. According to the charter,
Yeah.
you have to establish a charter review every so often. So I was asked if I would like to be on the charter review committee. So I said yes. I had a little time. I had like 3 or 4 years of just kind of watching, sitting back, and so forth. So in 2014, I got on the charter review committee and served for 1 full year because that's all it was. The chair, I don't know who the chairman was, or the president of the council was at the time, but it was a 1-year assignment.
Yeah.
The charter review would be almost like an ad hoc committee, and you would report to the council within 12 months. And during that time being on the charter review, I kind of was getting the bug again. I said,
Yeah.
okay.
You got politics in your blood, huh?
So in April of 2015, I ran for one of the council seats. It was an open seat.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, everybody was like, oh, he's coming back now.
Yeah.
He's on the charter review. And so I ran on the council, for the council, and was successful, and did 3 full terms on that.
Yeah. So a lot of people go, oh, we want to go back to the selectmen. But looking at the difference, especially if you look at the Charter Commission, what a difference, because they compare it. So do you think, now you've done both, what's your opinion? What do you think serves the people the best?
I guess the best form of government is when the most people can be involved.
Yeah.
So having said that, you would think, okay, he would like to have town meeting again. Not necessarily. I think that we are a large enough town that the council form of government can work with the charter. But like I said, every now and then it needs to be a committee, and I believe you're coming up on that soon,
Yeah.
to review the charter and kind of reflect on the last time the charter was reviewed and make notes and say, okay, we can make this better, we can make this tighter. The fact is that we have a strong town manager, not a mayor. So you have 9 elected council members, and I think it will always go through periods where everything just is smooth, and then you're going to run into periods where things are rough, and it always comes down to money. You know that.
Yeah.
So I think a diverse council is always the best council to have. It's okay to have 5-4 votes or 6-3 votes.
See, I agree.
it's
Some
okay.
residents don't
Yeah.
like it, think we're arguing, but we're debating and expressing different opinions.
True. I mean, I think that's the best. As long as whatever the majority is, everyone says, okay, I lost that vote,
Yeah.
but I'll go along with the will of the council. That's where you have to get along that way. I mean, there'll be a lot of unanimous votes, the routine things that you do.
Yeah.
But it's okay to have discussions. It's okay to have differences of opinions. But when you take the vote and you're not you're in the minority, you have to just say okay. And
you
deal
win
with
some,
that.
you lose some.
If you continue to fight and continue to say that's not right, then that's wrong. You say, okay, with the next opportunity, we can tighten it. Maybe I can get my 2 cents in on that one. But so I think right now, I think you have a pretty good diverse council, and there'll be a lot of close votes, or 6-3
Yeah.
or 5-4 votes, which is fine.
And you hear from different residents, so we're all hearing from different residents, and we kind of, align up with different ones. The thing I'd like to ask you is, a lot of people say to me, well, you're the town manager's boss, he has to do what you say. And I keep telling them, no, he's guided by the goals and stuff we give to them. So, I mean, he's accountable to us in certain ways, but it's not like I can say, okay, I want you to go do that. And I think people are confused with that, with the charter.
Yes, and he's the town manager, strong town manager, and the council has really not that much authority or power over the town manager, other than when you have the authority during a review
Yeah.
to set goals and objectives, and you can evaluate the town manager on those goals and objectives that you set for him.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean if he doesn't do them that he should be fired.
No, you speak to him like anybody else.
Right. And I'm sure that there may be a reason why he wasn't able to get to that particular project during this period. But I made some steps to get there. So I think you have to have an evaluation, and you have to have goals and objectives for him. And even the council should set their own goals and objectives, too, for what they want to do for the coming year.
I think that's a really good
Yeah.
idea, because sometimes I feel like we're flipping, flopping, and we're trying to get caught up rather than being ahead of what
Right.
we know is coming down.
Right. So when I was on the council, for 9 years, we only did like 3 reviews of the town manager. The process, it does take a while, and I think there is a review committee that would look at that. So I think that's important too. And then obviously, if there is a lot of underperforming during that 3-year contract or 2-year, whatever the contract is, then you can decide whether you want to renew the contract or not.
Yeah.
That's your option at the time the contract expires, or whatever the language is in that. So, as you know, goals and objectives are important, but doesn't mean that they have to be 100% complete.
Yeah, because consequences come and stuff. So based on your opinion, a lot of people ask me about employees. So the town manager is their boss, not us. So people really don't have a defined of what the council is and our boundaries. So when you were the council, how did you see with their employees? You go through the town manager if you want questions from the employees. But you can come into the town council into the town hall as a resident if it's a public record and ask for something. Or is it different?
The simplest way to look at this, having served as a selectman
Right.
and a councilman, under the form of government, the selectmen are the executive, and the town meeting was the legislative.
Yeah.
Now you have a town manager who's the executive. So just kind of think that the town manager is the selectman, and the 9 councilors are now the town meeting members. So that's the difference, and that's how I try to always think of it. Like
So we
that.
make the law and he executes.
You file ordinances, you file resolutions. Everything you do is
Right.
either under an ordinance or resolution. And then it's up to the town manager to carry those things through. Or they're referred to committees, and the committee researches it, discusses it amongst the committee, and comes back to the council for a recommendation.
Committees are very important, aren't they?
I always said that the work of a counselor is not what you see on TV usually.
No.
It's what's done in the committees. Now, I don't know how many of them are televised or whatnot, but yeah, the committees is where the work is done.
Yeah.
And that, I don't think a lot of people even see that or really understand that. What you do at your council meeting twice a month is pretty much just the routine stuff that's coming back from a committee to discuss new things of the town manager report, which is important to know what he is up to. So that's how I like to look at the town council and what their role is. The interaction with town employees, yeah, it's hard. We were always kind of the scuttlebutt was always that they're really not supposed to interact with us.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I can see, coming in and asking for, I don't know, something finance that I may need or something. But I don't come in and go, hey, how's your boss? Are you happy? You know what I mean? That's
Yes.
not my position, and I know that. So,
Right.
so it is like a little bit of a gray
That was
line.
hard when I became a counselor because I was always interacting a lot with town employees as selectmen.
Yeah.
And then when they get on the council, it's almost like they avoided you because they didn't want to engage in a conversation with you. There were a few that you did, but
Because they're afraid of the consequences.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
That really shouldn't be. I mean, I think the counselors should be able to have a conversation with an employee
I do too.
if they want to. We might not have to do, might not have to do with anything of their job. Just, if you see them down at the Town River Landing here at the farmers market or something, you should be able to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Yes. And now you can tell us.
Now I can.
You can text me and say, hey. So now you're a state rep and you're at the State House.
Yes.
So I saw some of the bills that you forwarded, the insurance payments for the use of ambulance. So when it says you forwarded a bill with a petition, does that mean it came from Bridgewater?
Yeah, so that is one of the bills that I filed, and I printed out. I don't know why I didn't print it so darn small here, but so I'll full disclosure, that was a bill that my predecessor filed.
Okay.
So when I got to the State House, I looked at bills that my predecessor filed to see, where they went and what the issues were. And I took that one particularly and refiled it because the ambulance, and I got a few co-sponsors that we have not had a hearing on that yet.
Okay.
So it was referred to, I believe, municipalities and local government. So what that bill will do is we don't get our fair share of ambulance monies when the ambulance has to go to the prison.
Yeah.
It's billed on a Medicare Medicaid rate, which is different than if we went to a private house, because your private insurance would more likely pay for that unless they're an older person and they're on Medicare Medicaid.
Yeah.
So, but the prison has been different. So this would put that up to par and compensate towns like us, and we're not the only one, that don't get the full financial benefit of that, which would help our ambulance receipts funds.
Oh, yeah, that would be, because the next one you have is to establish a prison mitigation fund for cities, towns hosting Department of Correction facilities. How's that different?
That one I did have a hearing on. It went before the Joint Committee on Law, and that hasn't been reported out yet. They get 90 days, sometimes an extension to report that. Again, full disclosure, that was a refile from my predecessor.
We're glad you keep, whether it's yours or,
Right.
So
I looked at that and I said, yes, because mitigation, as you know, it's a big issue. Prison mitigation, payment in lieu of taxes, all that is the same, is different title. But what it would do, instead of, hoping we get money, praying that someone puts money in that line item, this would establish a line item on a revolving fund that we would be assured that we would get something out of that fund. We're not the only community that would be affected by this.
Walpole Prison's still open, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Norfolk,
I know, but I thought I heard talk about Walpole.
Well,
You never know if it's just rumors,
Yeah, so I think that we should get more mitigation for hosting both the university and the prison.
That would be good.
But we do get, I believe, in this budget, it's about $700,000 in your cherry sheet, which is a little bit of an increase. So it does go up, but it's not always guaranteed, and the town needs that. It would be devastating if we didn't get it. And I think that the university is a great partner with the town. I really do. I think they're an asset. And I know some people grumble they don't do enough or they could do more. But I do think that they do a lot for the community when we ask them to. And I think they're an asset to the community. It's an open campus. It's not gated.
No.
There's no lock on the front door.
I go there all the time, especially during the summer.
Yeah, you walk through it, walk your dog through, whatever.
We got the senior citizen classes that
Sure.
So they do a lot. I agree.
And so the prison, on the other hand, is not as engaged with us, as far as I can see, as the university is.
Well, they're having a lot of problems up there.
Yeah. So, but the fact that we do host these two large state facilities, we have resources that we have to use, whether it's fire, ambulance, police, water, sewer issues. We should be made whole for those things. I know they pay their water bill, but when it comes to infrastructure needs, it's not the prison that should pay. It's not the university that should pay. It's the state, because they're state facilities. They should be able to acknowledge that and say, well, let's help Bridgewater with this project on water and sewer, or this project around the university, or so forth.
So this would help it, the one
Yes,
that
it
you
would.
passed. Good for you.
So I'm waiting for that to come out of committee. It'll probably be advanced to a study, and then it'll be advanced to another committee, and hopefully it goes somewhere. I'm working with a couple of other reps to hopefully get them a little bit more involved in this, because when there's only a few communities that it affects, it's not a lot of interest in the others that are up there.
Well, you let us know what we can do, and we'll voice for you.
160 reps up there. Not every community has a prison.
Yeah. Oh, you got a prison in a college.
Yes, we do.
So you got both.
Yeah.
So penalties for aiding, supporting, or enticing children to run away. I didn't even know this was an issue.
Again, that was a refile, and I didn't really know too much about it, but I read what was proposed, and I said I need to refile this and learn a little bit more about it. It hasn't had a hearing yet, but it will. But I think that now we just passed yesterday in the State House a bill that would kind of, not so much a runaways, but it's going to human trafficking is a big
that's
issue,
huge,
and the bill we passed yesterday provides training at hotels for the employees of the hotel to be able to understand and recognize, and even put notices in hotel rooms and bathrooms if someone is brought there under their will, of what to do on an emergency basis. So that was a good bill that we passed yesterday. That's a start. So that's kind of where that was going. So I think that a lot of times when you file bills, there's usually, you're not the only one with the idea. There's others that have ideas, and sometimes we don't, all talk to each other. So there's a lot of looks. Well, that's a companion bill. That looks like what I'm doing. So we made some progress yesterday with that. We'll see how it works. I believe the Senate had passed it as well. So it now becomes, well, the governor has to sign it. Obviously, that's the next step. I don't think there's a problem with that. So that would require training and for the hotel staff to be able to identify and react to.
I think that's a good one, because I went to one of those trainings, and I think people all should. When I came to the farmers market down here at our town's landing, there was a table there about, I have the thing I was going to ask. I was going to look at the company to see, and maybe have a train, come before the council, and have training, like any parents or any teachers or anybody else could come to the training. I think it's a really good idea. So I was glad to see that. The other one, you established the Suburban Infrastructure Fund to help towns pay for improvements on upgrades on town-owned roads, bridges, and sidewalks, because usually they only do states, right?
No, this bill is one I filed. It's what I campaigned on last year. And it certainly, as you know, everybody lives in this town knows, and many other towns. We're not the only, we have bad roads.
Oh, yeah.
We need a lot of help. And as you're aware, an override was just proposed to the voters in this town, where only like $500,000 was going to go in a revolving fund to help with our roads. I don't think communities should be going to their local property owners and taxpayers for these roads and bridges, unless it's what they want to do. But we should be getting a lot more help from state with Chapter 90 funds. Now, this bill, which actually finally had a hearing Wednesday, it was heard before the Joint Committee on Municipalities and Local Government, and I only got 2 minutes. When you go to a hearing before a committee, you don't have like all day, because there are many other things they take up, so they time you. But I submitted my written testimony, which was longer than 2 minutes. Yeah, but I had to recap everything, and that will, again, I want a fund to be established through this fair share amendment monies, the Millionaire's tax, and other sources, to put in a fund of a sum of money where suburban communities like Bridgewater, even rural communities that are like Rochester, can, in addition to the Chapter 90 monies that we get, can say, okay, and I know Bridgewater has a study of all the roads in the town and the priorities of which are in the worst shape, and which need it right now, and ones that can probably wait a year or two. But there is a study that was done, and sometimes you can't go by the worst because the worst is probably going to cost you the most.
And you have drainage problems.
And you open up a road, you might find more things so you have to go with what you can afford.
Yeah.
And the Chapter 90 monies that we get from the state, which I will say has increased this fiscal year by 50%. It sounds like a lot, but it's not.
Yeah.
$700,000 is usually what the town of Bridgewater gets in Chapter 90 funds. This year you're getting $1 million. So that's it's about a 50% increase. But what does $1 million get a community when they want to do a road? Right now they're doing Flag Street and a portion of South Street. I don't know what that's.
Yeah.
But
It's
I'm
according
sure
to costs, the supplies.
And
the supplies, they're not, I was told that, the tar that they put down is not as good as it used to be.
Yeah,
it doesn't last. And it's
sad.
I mean, Bridgewater
right.
should open their own business and start it, make it good, and we'd be a millionaire town.
But the money, the additional $300,000 that Bridgewater is getting, and all communities are getting about 50% more, it's really to help the towns with the inflationary factor that's been put in on this construction.
Yeah.
The construction. So you wonder how much mileage you're really going to get out of that money. My bill that I filed will be a designated fund where a town could go to their list of priorities and say, okay, this year I want to do Cross Street. And Cross Street has been projected to be $1.2 million. And then put that into the state and say, I want, under the Suburban infrastructure bill, where there'll be money funded, we want money to do that road.
That's a good idea.
And every year you can take outside of the Chapter 90 monies that you get and say, okay, with this you could do 2 good roads every year until you get caught up.
Yeah.
And so everything will look kind of fun. Then you start the rotation over again because you got to keep up the maintenance, or then you have really bad roads. So that's the goal behind this. And I think it would be a helpful tool for communities to get them caught up on some of their bad roads and bridges and sidewalks. Because let's face it, we want people out walking more, but people are more likely not to walk if there's no sidewalk on their road or quick access to one. So sidewalks are important and bridges as well. But the main thing is roads. I think our roads should be second to none, and we've got a lot of work to do here in Bridgewater to do that. And I'm hoping this, and I said to the chairman during my presentation, I hope this bill is reported out favorably so we can continue the discussion of doing something to help the smaller communities get the monies they deserve.
No, I like that. I think that's a good idea. So thank you.
I'm going to be following that one very closely during this session and make sure it gets the attention it needs so we can have more. The fair share money is coming in much higher than was projected. And right now, a lot of it's going to the MBTA. And I know they have issues. Yeah. The subway systems.
They've been having issues for decades.
Yes, and I know that infrastructure is a big need on the MBTA, particularly the subways, and the cars need to be upgraded. I get it. And they got a ton of that fair share money this year, which is fine. But as we go forward, they can't keep getting 70% of that.
No, somebody's got to watch that.
And that's why let's put some of that in this fund and let the communities come in and ask for additional money to do an extra road this year above the Chapter 90. Put people to work. It'll put construction workers and everything to work as well. Yeah. So I'm hopeful about it. I've gotten some good feedback on it.
Good.
It's got a long way to go, but if not, I hope it continues to. I'll file it every year I'm in there just to keep the conversation alive.
We'll back you. So you spoke about the Millionaire surtax. That's the one, if it was approved by the voters in 2022, a tax on incomes over $1 million. And it's supposed to be used on education and transportation. But this year, Governor Haley put it in her budget, from what I'm understanding.
No.
She passed a $60.1 billion budget.
That's not, no.
That's
I don't,
not true?
So the millionaire's tax would be kind of above and beyond that, which would be incorporated in the budget only for education and transportation. So it's part of the budget, but it's It's been designated for those two areas, and that's what it was earmarked for. But like I said, 70% went to transportation, more so the MBTA. $300 million went to Chapter 70.
So that money for the transportation is actually supposed to come to towns.
Not so much. No, it could be used for any.
So when residents voted on it, they knew that it could go to the MBTA?
Well, that's part of a community that has
Okay.
the red line, the blue line. That's,
All right.
they're part of, like, we have the commuter rail here. So yeah, I mean it. But the MBTA is a quasi-public agency, as you know,
Yeah.
in Massachusetts. So it's part of the Department of Transportation, and they got a good lion's part of that money. Yeah, I would have liked to seen more go to education. Because, and I think that I understand that there's a lot more need in the local communities for Chapter 70 and Chapter 71 funds. There was a lot of headway made this year with bringing everyone up to $150 per pupil. That was a big thing. We were able to do that with that fair share of monies. But it's still not enough. Now, Bridgewater, Rainham got $2.8 million more in Chapter 70 and 71 monies. That was a lot more than many other communities got.
Does that go straight to the school?
It's it's Chapter 70.
So it doesn't
71
come
money.
to the town at all?
No.
Yeah.
It's,
So, but, okay.
the only thing what the town gets is the town just sends the assessment amounts
Yeah.
that you approve. I think you do it twice a year, or maybe a monthly basis. I don't know how the town pays the district, whatever the assessment is approved at.
Yeah.
But the other monies come directly from Department of Education or DESE to the district.
So they got
Yeah.
more than the school thought they were going to get.
Well, what they needed was a lot more, but I think they projected, they put together their budget and send.
But they got a lot more through Chapter 70 than they thought they were going to get.
No, I'm not saying that they thought they would get more. They were they were hoping they would
but
get more.
they on their budget they project how much they're going to get from Chapter 70, and then like you said, towns got a lot more.
So what the school district does is, again, House 1 is the governor's budget.
Yeah.
That's how the budget process starts. And the House 1 comes out in January. Now, most towns have already started to do a preliminary budget by then. But the school district, nor does the town, release anything of what they hope what they need until they know and have a good idea as far as what the state aid is going to be.
Right.
And a good gauge
A projected one.
A good gauge of that is when the governor puts out her budget,
Right.
which is called House 1. And that's when you start seeing, okay, this is what we think the state can afford. From what the governor did to what was finally passed, it didn't deviate that much at all.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty consistent as far as it might have deviated 100,000 here and there, but the bottom line is it didn't deviate too much at all. There was more money put in education in the
Okay.
House budget, than the Senate budget.
So
And
the
then
budget goes through the House and the Senate.
it starts with the governor, then it comes to the House. The House,
And that's where you are.
we are, and then we vote the budget, and then we send it over to the Senate. The Senate does their job with the budget, and then they look at where are our differences. It's from that Senate to the House to the Senate. They look at the big differences, and then it goes to conference. It goes to the conference committee.
Okay.
Then the conference committee gets together and they try to reconcile the differences, and then it comes back for a full vote. That's
All right.
pretty much the process.
So I've heard from that Massachusetts for the 14th year in a row is late with the state budget. You guys are late every year, 14 years. That's what CBS said and a couple other news stations.
We passed a budget on time this year.
Well,
Right.
they said 14th, but anyways, because they said the impact being late is that the like new things that you are held up, like the free community college and free school lunch. Because I mean, some of the stations, they were talking about it.
So we passed the budget.
Well, when she signed it, I think that's what they're looking at.
There was a few days delay, but it didn't affect anything.
Right.
It didn't affect anything.
Well, they're just looking at it. It's 14 years. It doesn't look good. But I mean, I'm asking. I dug
Well,
into
last
it.
year was much later. I wasn't
Yeah.
up there, but a year
No,
ago.
I'm not blaming you
A
personally.
year ago was much later, but there are
Yeah.
circumstances. I don't want to be critical.
No,
of-
they're
of
just
the
saying 14 years is a long
sometimes the-
time. Quite a few years.
Sometimes the process, there's extenuating circumstances they're trying to iron out, and it's usually in the best interest of the communities.
Yeah.
Because if they were forced, if they have an idea that something might change that would benefit a community, wouldn't you want us to wait? Yes.
Well, yeah, they're just saying it's a kind of a bad look, and it does hold
Yeah.
up some things. So anyway,
You do what you call the 1/12 budget,
yeah.
and you just start with that process, and that doesn't hurt anything because the money, the revenue stream will come in to get
cover
you
it.
through that, and we could face some cuts later in the year. You don't know.
Yeah.
Too.
So one of the questions that I get a lot from the residents is Massachusetts residents voted 72% for an audit in November 2024 and has not happened, the audit of the state. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know why hasn't she done an audit.
Well, I mean, what do you guys do? Do you have the power to say, hey, why haven't you done an audit? I mean, I'm trying to understand how your relationship with the governor. You know what I mean? Can
Okay,
you
so-
say, hey, my two communities are asking why this hasn't been.
The state constitution, we are an autonomous government body, the Senate and the governor's office. So we set rules, and the rules were we have no problem with the governor doing an audit of the legislature, provided that she hire an independent auditor to do it.
And she doesn't want to.
That's the catch-up.
Okay.
That's the holdup. Is she, from my understanding, wants to do it herself or with her staff.
Oh, there you go.
But we think it should be an independent auditor,
I
and
agree.
we're okay with that.
So how does the residents help you guys? Do we write letters to the governor?
I would not. The governor's not holding this up.
Well, who's,
Governor's not holding this up. The auditor is an elected constitutional officer of the state, and she has authority under the Constitution by her.
oh, so
virtue of position.
it's the auditor who wants to do it,
Yes.
not an outside one.
No, the auditor wants to audit the legislature. We're saying to her, sure, but hire an independent auditor that can come in with an open mind and be objective. And the auditor can certainly put out the request for proposal, set the guidelines, set the criteria, but have an independent firm come in and do it. That's what I believe is what the legislature wants. The Senate, I'm not sure what they want. These separate entities. So, but to audit the House, that's what we have advised her that we would be happy to accommodate her, provided and we would work with an independent agency, not her.
So then residents should write to their senators, state senators.
It's the auditor's office. This is a.
But I mean, who can push the ball to kind of force her to do that? Does she have a boss?
You guys, the elected people that elect her.
So we can
So
write.
I would contact the auditor's office directly
Okay,
and say, why won't you hire an independent auditor to look at the legislature?
that's what I wanted to know. That's because that's what the residents are asking. How can we do this?
And the perception, and I get it. I've heard it from people that we don't want an audit. I've only been there 7 months. I don't know what they're going to find.
Yeah.
What I've done. Everything's. I don't know what the issues are or whatnot. But we're open to it, provided that it's an independent person that can be open and objective.
I agree with you.
And
yeah.
set guidelines. Set out. We'll let the auditor can do the RFP. She can write it and say, I want these things together. Now, when they get in there and they see something that requires additional, then we can work on that as well as she gets in there. But, our budget, and the House has a budget that we stay within guidelines. And in government, there's nothing, in my view, that I've seen up there. We're all good people that want to do good for our community.
I don't think people do that. I mean, even like people want auditor at the school and stuff. It's like not everyone's great at managing money or looking at stuff. Sometimes it's good to have. I mean, people individually go to the finance advisor and they look over your finances and say, hey, if you cut out eating dinner, every night, so sometimes it's just managing your money and moving stuff around.
But an audit can look at all other things too.
Well, yeah.
Procedures and so forth. Prior to me getting elected, I was a retirement director for a public pension fund, and we are heavily regulated by the state. They're called
Yeah.
PERAC, the Retirement Association Commission. And we have audits every 3 years, a full audit. We're dealing with millions of dollars in pension funds,
Yeah.
and we have audits all the time. They're revolving every 3 years. Every month, we have to send all of our financial data to the state for review.
Yeah.
So I'm used to people looking at my work and my
Yeah.
staff's work.
I think
And-
people shouldn't take it personal. There's been so much. It just takes one person.
well,
Like there's been a lot of scandal, a lot of
Yes.
like, all the stuff. So it's not pointing a finger. I think people are just like, that's a safety net.
absolutely. And an audit is really not to try to catch you or anything.
Yeah.
It's also supposed
Keep you
to
honest.
to say, hey, you're doing it this way, which is fine, it works.
Yeah.
But if you did it this way, it would be better.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help you do your job better, is what an audit should do. They may find things that are, whoa, this is really, really wrong.
Yeah.
But for the most part, audits that I have had to deal with are to help you do your job better, to make it more transparent. And if they find something that's really, really bad, you have to deal with that. But for the most part, it's supposed to be constructive.
No, I
Criticism.
think that's how I look at it. I wouldn't mind an audit because those people can help me become better. How I invest my
Yes.
money, what I'm doing wrong, why am my savings is not as high. So I look at it the same way as you do. But I mean, a lot of people, just because there's so much scandals, it only takes one person.
To make everyone look bad, yes.
Yeah. So it's not pointing fingers. So I listened to the Boston University in 2024. They did a study. It was Mark Williams. He's a master lecturer in finance. And he says more people are leaving Massachusetts than arriving. And now they have a new name for it. It's called net out migration. So he's saying that between 26 and 34-year-olds are graduating but leaving. The 26 between 54, the prime age workforce is leaving. And the 55 from 64 are leaving too. And that's a huge thing. So they use the censors and the IRS. But they're saying because our taxes, are on everything. We're known for our taxes, right? Cost of living, cost of health care, cost of child care, zoning laws, and excessive regulations. So how can we stop that?
So that's a lot.
That's a lot,
That's
I
a
know.
lot. That's a lot.
I
So
know.
it's cyclical. I think at some periods, there's a net gain of residents. In some periods, there's a net increase in residents. So I think it's a cycle. Now, why would people leave Massachusetts? I don't think it's all about taxes, because we are not the highest.
But we tax
Tax burden.
everything, though.
We are not the highest in the country, though. There are
Right.
there are probably at least 6 or 7 states that are taxed higher than us. I think it's the cost of living would be a higher reason why people might leave Massachusetts, because the cost to live here is so high, and it comes to housing.
Cost of
Housing is where it's just very, very expensive for people to afford rent or even buy a home.
Yeah.
And that's really comes to a policy that I know this town has struggled with it, and that's the MBTA Communities Act, which is supposed to address a housing issue in Massachusetts and provide more housing for those that can't afford it, that will give them an opportunity to
Yeah, but
start.
most of the people that he's cited that's leaving, they're making the money. You know what I mean? The college graduates, the prime age, and he said in 2020, Massachusetts was the 4th in private sector. Now we're the 28th. He's saying we're losing private sector, retail, manufacturing, and professional services because of high costs. And I'm thinking maybe we should dig into further in this and see why. If it's all this.
I'd like to look at the study. I haven't really seen that. I think that businesses come and businesses go in the Commonwealth. Route 128, Route 495, the Beltway, 128 and 495 have always been a signature for high technology, and I think that's still strong, particularly in healthcare and so forth. So I think that...
he said education was very high, tech and healthcare. But all those college kids, they're, moving out to get, so they can afford a house.
Well,
you know.
it comes down to the cost of living.
Yeah.
And mostly the cost of living in Massachusetts, the biggest one is housing. Is to be able to get their first house is hard. For some people, the cost of rent, $3,000+ a month for a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment in certain places is an awful lot of money. No, you're right. College graduates, we all want them to stay here. I think that statistically, and I don't have the number in front of me, but a Bridgewater State University graduate, they stick around. They stay around and stay in the community and live in Massachusetts and work in Massachusetts, a very, very high percentage.
Yeah.
So some people do, at that age, when they graduate from college, want to venture out.
Right.
But they come back.
But I think we should.
They do come back.
Some do, but I think I think they said like 56,000 people have left in the past couple of years. So I mean, this is a college, and they've had their students working on this, and he published it, and he used a lot of. I mean, I didn't get into the technicalities and stuff, but I thought this might be something that we should seriously look at.
I think it's being addressed, and it comes down to housing.
Well,
what else could we?
Well, electric bills are extremely high.
Well,
No, it's because you have Eversource and National Grid. So
Right.
Eversource is raising between 20 and 30 because they bought a lot of the wind binds and stuff, and that's not working. And National Grid's 10 to 13. And they said one of the biggest reasons is because, let me see, the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities oversee the electric companies. And Governor Haley, they believe, has power to stop them from increasing rates. So they were saying that it was, let me see, I brought it before I tell you all that.
Right. But
It was because this is it. Our gas and our coal and our nuclear plants have been closed. They've been shut down. So now we're importing electricity from out of state. So we have to pay for that cost, that transmission cost, because they're transmitting it to our substations. So then we have local delivery costs, the maintenance, the hardware, and then we pay the substations to bring it to our homes. So that's a high cost right there, on that. And we're paying for public benefits. Did you know that? On your electric bill, they're mandated. So from 2025 to 2027, the Mass Save program, she's changed it to decarbon, equity, and green energy. So there's no cost for upgrades for low to moderate income residents. And she's diverting 40% to them. So they're getting heat pumps, which are expensive. They're not good in the winter, but they're good in summer. There's 21 equity communities that aren't paying for everything. And so we're mandated to pay that. The solar panels, whatever the green energy is, taxpayers are paying it on the electric bill.
Well,
that's
I think
why
that
it's skyrocketed.
I think and I'll get to that in a second, but the original question, relative to young people leaving Massachusetts, I don't think they're leaving because their electric bill is too high.
I think everything's too high.
I mean, I don't think a college student is getting electric bills.
But I didn't just bring up college students.
But I think that what's happening with the cost of living in Massachusetts, which electricity is one of them, and I think that there have been programs.
Right now.
There have been programs that the state has put in place to get people out. Alternative energy is a big source, and that's going to take a while to get there. But you are absolutely correct. There are some mandates that are included in our electric bill that I'd like to see go away as well.
Yeah, we should be mandated. I mean, I want to help people too.
That's some of the piece of what we pay in that bill are part of mandates that are starting to catch people's eyes and say, are they really working?
I think it's hypocritical that we want to go green, but we're paying another state who has coal and nuclear for electricity. Rather than, you can't start going green and take it all away when we're not ready for it. We're just not fit for it, and that's why electricity bills. And then they started a program called Turnkey Delivery Pathway. So they're going to have vendors will do the assessment and installation. So, I mean, that's kind of conflicting. And they've been benchmarking 15% of the diverse suppliers, and they're diversing funding for the workforce. So that's $22 million per year. So there's a lot of hidden fees that people are like, why? Because they keep asking me about the electricities. So I started really digging into it. Yeah. So now I'm hoping you can dig into it.
I'll look into it. I mean,
okay.
I think that there's no question as we are, well, we're still in the middle of summer,
Yeah.
but as we head into fall and winter, I'm worried about electric bills for a lot of the vulnerable people in our community.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about gas and oil and things like that. I mean,
we could do a gas pipeline from Pennsylvania and say, because they were looking at it before, and it would, in 50 years, it would pay itself off. But nobody will do it because governor or whoever decides that we want to be green within 20 or 30 years. So they figured then it's not worth it.
But I think that plan needs to be adjusted because I think they're aggressive with their green energy.
But have you looked
guidelines.
into that?
There is a couple of the Joint Committee on Energy at the State House. I'm not on that committee.
Yeah.
I did sit in on one of their committee hearings when this National Grid, well, not so much National Grid, but it was Eversource,
Yeah.
having a lot of huge increases in
They're
their
having
bills recently.
financial problems.
So, and some of those issues were brought up at the committee hearing, and I hope to continue to keep in tune with that. Committee is doing some great work
Yeah.
on Beacon Hill to look into this, and I'll keep my ears to the grind as to what progress they can make. Whether they call in the utility companies and ask them what their plan is this winter, I don't know. But we have to be careful because there are a lot of people with the economy kind of shaky right now. I know the market's not doing
The market's doing great. I just
not
watched
today.
it this morning.
well, not today.
The SP and all that. Yeah. We're doing pretty good.
Not
They go-
today. Not today.
They went down a little bit.
Yes.
They're afraid of a war.
I don't. The market is something we need to indicate. And the unemployment rate was ticked up today as well. And the jobs market today,
It was 1,750
what?
jobs.
No, it was 73,000, but lower than projected. And unemployment went up.
I think unemployment went up because immigrants are on unemployment. She's put them on
But
unemployment.
we
We
know
have to look at both ways.
we know that our economy has done well in the past, and everyone kept saying the tariffs are gonna really hurt our economy. I hope it doesn't, but we have to be careful of that. But energy, electric bills, grocery bills, that the staples,
groceries have gone down. I can tell you that.
the staples that people need to live on are
Yeah.
what we need to be concerned about because the average person gets those bills every month or every week. They have to pay for their groceries to live, and we need to be able to stabilize those increases in inflation.
Well,
to
groceries
work
have
on that.
gone down. If we used gas, if we did a pipeline, it would go down. I mean, we're in New England. I don't understand why people think we should use electric. Electric's very expensive, and it's made by coal. So wouldn't it be cleaner and cheaper if we use gas?
I'm not sure. I don't think you're ever going to get rid of electricity.
No, yeah, I don't want to get rid of electricity, but I mean, you guys want to get the green want to get rid of coal, and that's how we make electricity. So you can't. All right.
Combination of everything. I think a little, maybe a little bit of that, but electricity.
I think it should be choice.
Electricity is not going to go away. It's not going to. They're going to ever get to zero. It's always going to be the need for it. If there are other alternatives that are cleaner,
Nuclear.
Yes.
Did you see? It's
I
is
don't
it
know what
Scotland?
happened there with the nuclear.
Well, Scotland decided to do something different. Rather than having a huge nuclear plant, they put smaller ones across their country.
But the issue has always been the waste.
Yeah, throwing it in the water.
No one knows what to do with the waste or
Yeah.
where you can contain it.
We'll
and
have to
that's
ask
then the big
Scotland.
problem. That's the big problem.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, gas and oil have been the cleanest. We've cleaned a lot up. I mean, we even have clean oil. I mean, coal now.
Well,
You can see from London the difference, right? What they had their problems. All right, another issue that residents have brought about the veterans. The bill providing shelter to U.S. veterans priority over illegal immigrants failed. In the House of Representatives, the Democrats, all but two, voted against it, putting veterans first. And all 25 Republicans voted for putting veterans. But a bill was passed that immigrants are first for shelters for the homeless before veterans.
that's not true.
No?
That's not true at all. When I first took office in January, it's one thing I campaigned on, first of all,
Right.
was right to shelter reform, which we did do reform a few months ago. And the right to shelter reform puts veterans as a priority.
So you
Yes, it
overdid
does.
what she started. The
The
governor
House
started
did, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not saying the governor's proposal was to put migrants first. I'm not saying that.
It was on front news of all
I'm
the
saying
TV.
that what the House did is made veterans a priority
Right.
for shelter. And now you're seeing all the numbers in the shelters are really coming down. Number one, because of reform. No, they're not. They have not grown. They've come down quite a bit.
No, I didn't say they were growing.
They've come down quite a bit.
They've come in down because of home-based program. She's moving them out. She moved 7,767 to private homes and apartments, which taxpayers are paying for.
So,
and they believe, I mean, this
but
is
the
what
right to shelter law is not funding that. The right to shelter law has
just
funding in there, but it's been cut. And the reforms that the House put in,
right.
the reforms that the House put in, is to, again, it would give veterans priority over the migrants, and it also has a path requirement to have them come on out
Right.
of the shelter. To say,
So
okay,
now does it go to the senator?
You
Senate?
need. It's already passed.
Oh, okay.
The bill is in place and it's working.
Okay, good.
It's in working a short period of time, and it will continue to work. But it has them on a path to get out of the shelter.
Isn't that
for all
home-based?
people.
Home-based program is?
And at that time, by that time, they might have a job where they're paying some of it.
Well, I
so
mean,
it's
I
a
know
transition. A transition.
Well, she's moved them because the state doesn't want ICE to find them a location.
I don't.
That's what a lot of the news is saying, that they're
That's-
putting them in neighborhoods and stuff. So the taxpayer is still paying.
I don't think anybody's hiding anybody.
I didn't say hiding.
Yeah,
I
don't
said
think-
she just doesn't want ICE to feel easier because, I mean, we're a sanctuary state, or
Not
town,
necessarily.
Boston.
I mean the migrant situation has always been an issue in the state, and we
I
have.
think it's been as bad. I mean, I think that
It
people
was-
are
it-
afraid because they're going after. We have violent ones. Besides, before it was just immigrants that were vetted and came in and had working things, and everything was fine.
Right.
But the past last, I mean, they even started a correlation called Loose Mass. It's LUCE Mass, and it was formed. And it was formed in March of 2025. So it's a Massachusetts Immigration Network, and they have a hotline to tell you where the ICE is and where not to go. Because, I mean, that's just the way the state is running right now because they're a sanctuary. And I understand protecting immigrants, but not the violent ones. There's got
I
to be
agree
a
with
balance.
you. I agree with you, and that's what's.
And
what's
this is
been
the
done.
problem because it's not being done. It's all together. You know what I mean? So
Well, there's no question that violent offenders should be sent out, and that's part of the reform that the legislature put in. And I think that is happening to some extent as far as the ICE presence in Massachusetts. That's ongoing in other states.
right.
I mean, we do have an immigration problem in this country. I think it is being addressed at the federal level and at the local level.
I mean, the last time the ICE came in, there was violent protesting against them. That's
Yeah.
that's a problem for Massachusetts. It's not a good look at all. So I know some of these are tough, but I mean, different people raised it. So like, there's a Section 9C of Chapter 29. Did you hear that she's trying to do that? The MMA is against it. They've been sending stuff out. They're concerned.
Right, and
They
I'm
could
against
put-
that. I'm against that as well. It would give the governor
much power.
additional authority for 9C cuts.
Right.
It hasn't come to the House yet
No.
for a vote or anything. I'm really not inclined to support that. I don't think she needs additional 9C cuts. She has the authority, which is something municipalities need to be aware of, is that the 9C authority that she does have, she can come in at some point and cut the local aid.
Yeah.
But she wants expanded authority to cut in other areas, and I don't think there's any appetite, at least in the House,
No,
to
because she
support
wants
that.
to cut local aid, courts, you lawmakers, the constitutional office. I mean, MMA, they're putting it out like they're against this,
So, yeah.
and they're hoping people
And-
will vote against it.
And I would be a no vote on that as well. But she does have authority to cut local aid
Yeah,
without
but
the
this would be
increase.
more local
Yes,
aid.
it would be expanded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm not in favor of that.
Okay, one more tough thing. can just.
That was an easy one, though.
Yeah, that was easy. So I looked into this. I'm not positive, but from what I've read and when someone brought it up, I looked into it, that the Massachusetts police mandatory to take certain courses. It's a new one. So it's a 2025 mandatory training committee called Freedom in Hate Speech, Crimes and Groups. So it says that they're trained to treat parents speaking out at the school board meetings as potential members of a hate group. They said that if you look into it and buried in the materials a list of organizations that Massachusetts considered hate groups. And we agree with this, anti-Samaritan white supremacists. But they said they also list Moms for Liberty. And they advocate for parental rights in public schools, and they've never been linked to any violence. So there are some of these groups, like the Alliance Defending Freedom, it's a local nonprofit, and they've gone to the Supreme Court protecting religious rights. So people are concerned about this. I don't know who's leaked some stuff out, but I heard about it, looked into it, and that's going to be a problem.
I'm not really aware of that. It's training for police officers.
Yeah, it's come out new. It's a 2025 mandatory training committee called Freedom and Hate Speech, Crimes, and Groups. So I was thinking maybe you could look into that. It's for Massachusetts police. It's mandatory. And I've had some people raise that and ask me about it. Of course, I guess I could ask a police officer if there's in there.
You're right.
But I thought maybe you could, look into that to see if it did pass, or who makes it something mandatory training for police officers.
Well, I don't know if that comes from the state or comes from the police. It's part of the police academy program, or whatnot. I always think any training for anybody is always good to understand what's out there. Any education someone can get, particularly if they're new at something.
I think the problem was not the training, but that they would put Liberty Group, Mom's Group that speaks up, that they want to have parental control or say in what their teachers as list. Their problem is some of the groups they put it in as hate groups. That was the problem I heard. I'm like, why is that group in there? Why is that? They don't have any problem with anti-Semitic or white supremacists. It's the other groups that they put in when they're just advocating for their children.
Yeah, I'm not
education.
sure. I haven't heard too much about that.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I get a lot of things.
I don't see a lot of issues like that in our community.
Well,
right?
Just that would be able to pass. That means, well, it could happen in our community if that passes.
Right. But I don't. Our district. I think our police departments do a fine job.
It has nothing to do with the police. It's
the
having
training,
those names listed.
It's I thought it was more into training them to understand what could come.
No, it's to treat parents speaking out at school boards as a potential member of a hate group. So they're being trained and they're given a list of what groups can be that way. So they were concerned. Why would they put those other ones in there?
I haven't heard of anything like that, so
Okay.
I have to look into it. But I don't.
I'm limited.
I haven't heard.
Information.
Is there an example of a town that has done that?
And I think it's just started training. It's because it's 2025 training for the police, so it's
Okay.
in their training material. Which, I don't think I could get, but I thought I'd bring it up to you because you have more connections than I do. You know what I mean? I couldn't find much about it, but I figured I'd look into it. You know what I mean? So, because, that'd be like, I'm trying to get into your information. There's only so much I could.
What do you want to know?
No, you know what I mean? What kind of training and stuff. So
Right.
This is like, I suppose I haven't walked into the police station and say, hey, have you guys had this training? Can I look at your book?
I think as issues arise in our country, issues arise in our community, new things develop.
Yeah.
There's different training that, if a new piece of police equipment came to the police department, or a new piece of fire apparatus came to the fire department, there would obviously need to be training for them to understand this new piece of equipment. In this case, it's an issue. In this case, it's more issue oriented.
It's not the training part.
Right.
It's putting parent groups into underlining as a hate group.
Who's putting them in?
Well, whoever's writing the training.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the 2025 Mandatory Training Committee called Freedom and Hate and Speech and Crime Groups. So they're teaching the police about, because we've had a lot of trouble at different meetings and stuff like that. So they're saying there's certain groups that are hate groups. And one of the groups is Liberty for Moms. You know what I mean? So why should Liberty for Moms be put in with white supremacists and anti-Semitic? Exactly. So that's what their concern is. It's sneaking a couple groups in there that shouldn't be in there.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'll have to look into that. I haven't heard of anything like that. As far as how police are trained, I'm sure they have the best training when they go there.
It's nothing about training. It's nothing about the police. It's about putting certain names under a hate group list. You know what I mean? So if I was training the police and I was talking about hate groups and I'd say, well, this is what the white supremacists usually do. They're violent. You have to watch out for them. They may have, dress a certain way. But now I'm going to say, okay, now you have to watch out for Liberty for Moms. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be there because they don't have any violent acts or anything. Well, maybe you could look into it.
I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, I think that, like when we have an event in Bridgewater, like the 4th of July, where thousands and thousands of people are ascending on Bridgewater, particularly at night for the fireworks, I'm sure that there are meetings that take place with public safety to make sure that all the areas are covered and that the people are being safe, and they talk about potential things that might come up, and this is how we should react if that happens.
And that's fine. Yeah. They're not talking about that. They're talking about, like, say, if they said, you're going to be careful of certain groups coming into the meetings, and they would say, you got to watch out for that Gallagher and his group when you've never had doing violence or crime. So you would wonder, why did my name get into that hate group?
Right.
That's the question.
Well, I'm just glad we don't have that here. I think that we have passionate people that come to your council meetings. I know that. Yeah. You see them that are passionate about issues and so forth that they speak up about, which is great. But I don't think we have that kind of hatred in our community.
I don't even think that's the point. Yeah. The point is, why would a Liberty for Moms be listed with white supremacists?
Never heard of them. Never heard of them. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, it's just a group. So they're just wondering why there's two groups, like the Alliance for Freedom. The other one, why are they listed as a hate group too? So they're just, what I mean? I just figured you had more access to some stuff than I do, so I've heard it on a few occasions.
I haven't. This is the first I've heard of it.
All right. Yeah. Oh, I guess our time's up. We've been speaking for. I know I brought some issues up. I purposely bring stuff up that you could more look into than I. You have more access to the. But I'm glad with all the bills that you bring forward.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting that what I said I campaigned on so far have put legislation forward and have supported things to reform things, and so far so good. So I got a lot more to do, and I'm looking forward to the next year.
All right, come back anytime you want, Dennis. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.